company. I'm the president and CEO of Managed Solution. And I just want to say this, before we talk here, I'm just going to give you my expert opinion. As I tell my employees, my engineers, when you meet with a customer, you give them your subject matter opinion like you're in a courthouse, not your factual opinion, because sometimes we are wrong. But this is kind of what we call the 800-pound gorilla. I call it a window of opportunity. If you can read between the lines, we're a very large Microsoft partner. But really, I just want to talk about the very large companies out there and what they're doing in today's world and how we can best consume their technologies. So the question about technology, and I asked this to a lot of our employees and a lot of our customers, is are we looking at things a little bit upside down? And I'm sure you've seen this graphic before, sort of what's beneath the iceberg, so to speak. And in that, I think, and I believe this, today we spend way too much time worrying about infrastructure, the VMs that we use, connectivity, the platform that it sits on, the data centers, things like that. And it consumes a lot of the time we spend as IT directors, CIOs, and even engineers. And so my goal is to try to explain ways to consume new types of technology, be it infrastructure, platform, software as a service, that are going to allow you guys to easily stand up infrastructures, data centers, private, public clouds, and then focus on the stuff that we should be doing for our business that our CEOs and CIOs want us to focus on: business analytics, process, workflow. So I hope that makes sense, and we'll get into this. So here's my belief, and you've probably heard this before, and I think this is a simple representation of it. We consume utilities at home: San Diego Gas and Electric, water bills, things like that. Computing is the same way, and we can do it today. There's a lot of players out there that are actually providing elasticity-based computing, especially what we're going to talk about, the 800-pound gorillas today. And they're governed by the dashboards. We can literally go in there today into certain types of companies like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, Windows, Azure, GoGrid, Tier 3, Scale Matrix, all these different type of companies, and build out data centers in minutes and stand up VMs, and then, of course, put the applications we want to put on them. And we can do that using dashboards and decide how much at any given time we want to consume at what price point. So instead of going out there and buying these very expensive servers and putting them in our data center, not knowing if we're going to consume all the power, we can decide how much we consume and then scale up and scale down on demand. So again, you're going to see more and more of this. And I tell my employees all the time, what I believe in the future is that we as a data type company are going to become more like the telecom providers. We're going to look at consuming infrastructure or servers, much like we look at consuming bandwidth today. We'll be able to look at any given time, see an Amazon and a Microsoft and a Google and an Apple and a Scale Matrix, all telling us how much we're spending at any given time on our infrastructure. And with the way virtual technology over servers is working today, we're going to be able to say, hey, I want to move this infrastructure from Amazon to Microsoft, and then from Microsoft to Google and Google Apple, and then from Apple to Scale Matrix, or have a combo thereof based upon price. So price is really going to drive the infrastructure as a service industry. And again, these type of dashboards are how we manage it. So simple. What do the reports say? I use Gartner. They're probably the industry de facto standard that everybody uses. So ITO, outsourced spending in 2012, $251.7 billion. It's growing every year. I think it was a 5% growth last year in overall IT spending. But then the biggest market right now is infrastructure as a service spending. It grew 48.7% last year throughout the world. And again, today, as people know the Gartner, the Magic Quadrant, people look and they kind of see who the top players are in these different areas. And so, of course, Amazon's been around for a long time with their EC2 cloud. And there's other players coming to market with Microsoft and other technologies. But again, if you're looking at infrastructure as a service and you look in the top right quadrant, these are the guys doing it right. And you can go, and I mean literally, we have engineers on staff who go to those sites and within seconds stand up virtual machines that allow us to house our applications. So again, something to be thinking about when we look at the way we're buying and purposing hardware in our own data centers these days. So I retitled this slide. I wanted to be careful with the things I said here today, but I got to tell you, there's really, when we talk about the 800-pound gorillas, and we have to figure out how to partner with them, there is no question about it that these guys who you know and know very well on the left are going to be the ones going after the infrastructure as a service market. Some of them, as you just saw on the previous slide, are winning today, like Amazon. So as Microsoft comes to light with with Azure infrastructure as service-based services, or Amazon, or OpenStack, or IBM, or Dell, who's here today, provide you infrastructure as a service, we have to take a good look at that. But what I am saying is this: let's not go against the gorillas and look through that mist, as I kind of explained to my wife last night, and actually look at the gorillas as maybe a partner to us, to where I may have my own data center. I may have my servers that sit on premise today, which is still a great thing to do because not every application goes into the cloud. But I will say there is many, many tools out there that allow us to both leverage these 800-pound gorillas and our current data centers. And again, opinion would say, I think over time, more and more and more of our data will be consumed in these very large 800-pound gorilla type plays. But for today, the hybrid cloud seems to be the way people are going. And a hybrid cloud can be anything from, like I talked to you, our data center managed solution as one, but then we may replicate data across to like a Microsoft Azure solution. And again, for a lot of reasons, cost, redundancy, reliability, all those buzzwords we're hearing in the IT industry. So my next thing is, should we wrestle with the gorilla? My answer is no. It's very difficult to do so, and if we can't figure out a way to embrace and partner with them and consume their technology, we're going to be in trouble. We'll get into it in a further a slide coming up, but they're going to do it better, and if they don't do it better today, they will down the road. So those 99.9 and how many nines from there, we don't know. Those things, when we truly compare it to what we try to do on premise today, I almost guarantee you those guys who are doing it well, like the Amazons, are probably going to give you very little downtime in a year. They are the commodity. I saw another slide today about a coffee bean turning into coffee, ground coffee and you know, how to make it valuable, but they're the good kind of the commodity. If I can consume servers as I need them on the cost, or based upon the usage I have on a daily basis or hourly basis, that's how I want to do it. Again, I don't want to have those big CapEx expenses and you know, really overspend or potentially underspend and build the wrong infrastructure. One thing I tell people a lot is they say we're building a private cloud. You know, that's our goal. I tell them this: try to find the vendor that has the least amount of applications within that whole structure, from the OS to the hypervisor, all the way down to the desktop, the tablet, the end user device, the BYOD as we'll call it today. I think from that standpoint, when you're looking at it from a cost perspective and continuity perspective, you're going to find yourself in a better spot if you do it that way. So again, some people as IT service providers, as managed service providers, you know, we get nervous at first because we say to ourselves, oh my gosh, you know, I don't get these big 3 to 4 week projects anymore to upgrade data centers or upgrade servers. But that's okay because, again, going back to my original slide, it's in the business process, the business analysis, the business analytics. That's where we should be focusing our business. So I should be able to have you call an organization like mine or take your own and be able to stand up your data centers in minutes. And again, can we really compete when these guys have had these data centers, and I didn't list a lot, but had these data centers for years on end and have these servers that are constantly refreshed and have these platforms that we use on a daily basis that, you know, we now have to consume that way? No, we just cannot compete. So embrace it is my message. So this one is really, do we have anything but bananas? And I just really wanted to talk about what the 2 types of ways in which services are being done today and how we're consuming them. And I think I won't even go into this slide too much, but I'll just say you have your traditional IT managed services providers. There's a lot of us here today. And then we have our traditional IT organizations, the people that sit internal. And there's different ways that which we do things. The big IT organizations, they buy software and a CapEx expenditure. They buy large infrastructure like we've been talking about, the power, the on-site support. They have the desktop systems engineering. The managed services providers, they have the monitoring and management tools, the remote help desk, the on-site support. A lot of services, but that's right now probably where the industry's at. You have those type of support structures, and I think there's a better way of doing it. And you know, we're doing it today. So I didn't know gorillas ate, I don't even know if that's a gorilla, I think it's a monkey, but they eat pumpkins, and so anyway, anything but bananas or no more bananas. So here's the way to look at it. Forget about technology. We're a business. That's all we need to think. There's 2 things to think about: product and service. We know how we're going to service our company, whether it's internally or using an outsourced provider. Keep that simple. But now, how do I integrate both the product, be it the applications I use, the hardware I consume, into one operational spend per month? And products that are out there today that we see cloud-based between, you know, Microsoft and Google and Apple and all these guys are allowing us to do that on an OpEx spend per month. So the end result in the end is going to be really everything we do is going to be done on a per-seat basis, per person, per month. And how we put that together, it's really up to you. But at the end of the day, you're going to be buying technology in an elasticity-based model. So early man IT versus new man IT. And I just will keep this really simple. And if you want to ask me any questions about how I got these crazy numbers, please do. So we took some traditional Dell servers that we'd buy on premise, new software if we were buying Microsoft products like Office out of the box or email, and then really the services for a decent, systems admin. And I hope, that seems right. On this side, what I'm going to call the cloud services provider, the cloud aggregation provider, the companies who can come in, whether they have an internal or external staff, and provide all of the hardware, the software, and the services you need in a box. And as you'll see, as we take the same cloud servers like we've been talking about through the Amazons, the Microsofts, the Dells, the CSCs, you can buy the same type of server for about $400 a month. Software, you can buy products like Office 365 for $8 a month. And then the services, I took an industry standard on a user type service for a managed service provider, put that together, and there's your cost savings over 1 year and really over 5. The only time this doesn't work, and people put this into question all the time, is when you do that 5-year analysis and you say, well, if I don't change technology over 10 years, this doesn't make sense. And if you don't, then this doesn't work, this model. But if you want to stay current with the technology, this absolutely works. So how do you become, both as a customer, the CIO, the IT director, the partners like us, how do you become the silverback? How do you do it right? Figure out how to take your business and make it so you're consuming technology from an elasticity-based perspective. Find out who's going to give you the best uptime. That's always important. I know that's hard to do a lot of the time. We don't realize how much our data centers go up and down, but make sure you're watching for those things. Updates. Think about when you buy software as a service, how you're able to get that software anytime something comes up that's new. Let's take Office 2010 now. Office 2013 is coming out anytime now. You get it. Not to mention, if companies like Microsoft are saying to you, we're going to consume our consumers in the cloud. So that means that we're going to be in Microsoft up in somewhere in Redmond saying to ourselves, we're going to be updating software faster than we ever did. So when you decide to make a purchase on premise from a CapEx perspective, you can pretty much depend that that software is going to be obsolete a lot quicker than it used to be. So think about those things. Productivity. This is that whole soft cost conversation. If we give our users more current technology, the different products that are out there now with Windows 8 or Google Apps or whatever that is, they are going to be more productive in the workplace, hence increasing the production of your organization and revenue therefore. And then retention. God, this stuff enables you to bring your own computer, bring your own device. And I hate all these buzzwords, but it is what it is. I think you guys have seen them in the industry. But again, it is proven that if you can come in and bring those iPads and those, I saw these Surfaces and those Galaxies and whatever the heck you want, these laptops like this, and you like what you're using and you have different tools like instant messaging and presence and different ways to communicate versus just a phone call and an email. And again, remember, you hire different generations in your business, and they're going to communicate different ways because they do that at home. You're going to have better retention. And then overall cost. I showed you it. It's going to be proven. There is no way that these very large 800-pound gorillas aren't going to find their costs coming down and down and down. And as service providers, we're going to be able to provide better service and keep our margins fairly high. So that's really how we should be looking at things. So we're in there. We're here today. We have managed cloud solution. It is everything you see in that box, including all the latest products from Microsoft, the hardware that it sits on, a lot of audio-video conferencing. And I don't want to get too much into it, but if it's of interest, by all means, we're doing it. $12 a year per month. And a lot of customers seem to be loving what we're doing there. Again, as an elasticity-based way of consuming IT. So that's it. I'm Sean Ferrel. I know that was quick. We had 15 minutes. I hope that was less than. But does anybody have any questions? Anything? No? Okay. Well, thank you for coming.